I remember the day my 6-year-old great-granddaughter visited me at my office. She watched me examine a patient, and later, as we were eating lunch together, she looked up at me with those innocent eyes and said, "Great-grandpa, your hands shake when you write. Are you going to die soon?" The room fell silent. My daughter gasped, but I just smiled. Children have a way of saying what everyone else is thinking, don't they? That night, I looked at my hands, the same hands that had delivered over 3,000 babies, performed countless surgeries and comforted the dying. They weren't as steady as they once were. And for the first time in my 91 years, I truly confronted my own mortality, not as a doctor, but as a human being. Perhaps you've had a moment like this. Maybe it was when you couldn't open a jar that used to give you no trouble, or when you noticed your children exchanging glances as you repeated a story you'd already told, or perhaps when you caught yourself in the mirror and wondered, who is that person looking back at me? I'm Dr. Harold Mitchell. I've been practicing medicine for 65 years, and at 91 I still see patients 3 days a week, not because I have to, but because I believe the knowledge I've gained shouldn't just sit idle in retirement. My specialty has always been internal medicine, but over the last 30 years I've focused specifically on geriatric care, because as I aged I became fascinated with how we can age better. The truth is, I'm not just your doctor today, I'm your peer. I face the same challenges you do, the same creaking joints in the morning, the same struggle to remember names, the same feelings of sometimes being invisible in a world that worships youth. Last month I had a patient, let's call her Margaret, who came to see me. She was 83, and her daughter brought her in because Margaret had stopped going to her weekly bridge club. For 40 years she never missed a game, but now she refused to leave the house. When her daughter stepped out, Margaret's eyes welled up with tears. "I can't bear the pity in their eyes, Harold," she said. "We've known each other so long that she calls me by my first name. They look at me like I'm already gone. My mind is still sharp, but my body is betraying me. I can barely hold the cards without dropping them. I'm so ashamed." And Margaret isn't alone. Robert, 79, a former construction worker with hands that could bend steel, now struggles to button his own shirt. He told me he feels like a burden to his family. They're always checking on me, asking if I've fallen, if I've eaten. I used to be the one they relied on. Then there's Elizabeth, 87, who confided that her grandchildren no longer hug her the way they used to. "They give me those quick little pats like I'm made of glass," she said. "I miss feeling their arms around me." I see it in my practice every day, this slow withdrawal from life, not because of disease, but because of a loss of confidence, of dignity, of purpose. And society reinforces it, treating aging as something to be feared rather than a privilege that many never get to experience. But here's what decades of medical practice and my own journey through aging have taught me. Much of what we accept as inevitable decline isn't inevitable at all. You see, what's happening to your body isn't your fault. And the medical community, my own profession, has done you a disservice by not explaining it properly. When we age, our cells don't just wear out like old machinery, it's much more complex. Our mitochondria, the little powerhouses in our cells, become less efficient, our circulation changes, our nervous system adapts, but adaptation isn't the same as failure. The medical literature is clear. The primary factor in how we age isn't genetics. It's not even diet or exercise, though those are important. The primary factor is movement patterns, how we use our bodies on a daily basis. And here's the critical part that no one tells you. These patterns are habitual, not biological. They can be changed at any age. Studies from the National Institute on Aging have shown that people in their 90s can still build muscle mass. Research from Harvard Medical School demonstrates that balance can be regained even after decades of decline, and neuroplasticity research proves that our brains continue forming new connections until our final days. The problem isn't that you're old. The problem is that no one has given you the right tools to work with your changing body. I want you to know that there is a simple, powerful protocol that can transform how you feel and function, one that I've developed over decades and use myself every single day. It doesn't require expensive equipment. It doesn't need hours of your time. And most importantly, it starts showing results within just 7 days. I'm going to share this complete protocol with you today. But before I do, I want you to understand that this isn't about turning back the clock. It's about making the most of exactly where you are right now. Because where you are has immense value and potential. Let me walk you through what I call the RIC protocol, a daily routine that takes just 22 minutes and has helped thousands of my patients regain their independence and joy. The first component is rhythmic breathing. Every morning before you even get out of bed, place your hands on your abdomen and take 5 deep breaths. Inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, and exhale for a count of 8. Feel your belly rise and fall. This simple practice activates your vagus nerve, the superhighway of your parasympathetic nervous system, which reduces inflammation and improves heart rate variability. For those of you with arthritis in your hands, here's a little trick. Place a small pillow on your abdomen instead of using your hands. The gentle weight helps you feel the movement without straining your joints. After your breathing, it's time to move to the second component, intentional joints. Still in bed, you're going to gently mobilize every major joint in your body. Start. With your ankles, circle them 5 times in each direction. Then move to your knees, hips, wrists, elbows, and shoulders. Finally, turn your head slowly from side to side. The science behind this is fascinating. When you wake up, your synovial fluid, the lubricant in your joints, is stagnant from hours of immobility. These gentle movements redistribute that fluid, reducing stiffness and pain. A study from the University of Manchester found that morning joint mobilization reduced pain medication usage by 38% in adults over 75. If reaching certain joints is difficult, use what I call the towel technique. Take a small hand towel, hold it between your hands and use it to guide movement in harder-to-reach areas like your upper back or between your shoulder blades. Now, only after these first 2 steps do you get out of bed. And this is intentional. You've prepared your body for movement before demanding that it carry your weight. The third component is strength foundations. These are 5 simple exercises you do while holding onto a sturdy chair or countertop. 10 gentle squats, going only as low as is comfortable. 10 heel raises to strengthen your calves and ankles. 10 wall push-ups to maintain upper body strength. 10 seated knee extensions to support your knees. 10 gentle side bends for your core and lateral stability. For my patients with significant balance issues, I recommend placing the chair next to a wall so you have support on both sides. And remember, quality over quantity. 1 perfect movement is worth more than 10 rushed ones. These strength exercises do more than build muscle. They trigger what scientists call mechanotransduction. Essentially, your bones respond to pressure by laying down new mineral deposits, fighting osteoporosis. They also improve your proprioception, your body's awareness of its position in space, which is crucial for preventing falls. The final component is engagement focus. This is a 5-minute period where you engage in a mentally stimulating activity while standing or walking. It could be naming as many animals as you can that start with the letter S. It could be counting backward from 100 by 7s. It could be reciting a poem you love while taking small steps in your living room. This combines cognitive challenge with physical movement, creating new neural pathways that strengthen both mind and body coordination. Research from Johns Hopkins University shows that these dual-task exercises are twice as effective at preventing cognitive decline as physical exercise alone. That's it. 22 minutes that can change everything about how you experience aging. Rhythmic breathing, intentional joints, strength foundations, and engagement focus, the RIC protocol. Let me tell you about Evelyn, who at 92 had resigned herself to spending her days in a wheelchair. Her daughter brought her to see me after Evelyn developed pneumonia for the 3rd time in a year, a common consequence of the sedentary lifestyle that often comes with wheelchair use. I introduced Evelyn to the RIC protocol, modifying it for her capabilities. Within 2 weeks, she could stand long enough to wash dishes, a small victory that brought her to tears. "It's not just that I can stand," she told me. "It's that I feel useful again." By month 3, Evelyn was using her walker to move around her apartment. At 6 months, She attended her great-granddaughter's ballet recital, the first family event she'd been to in years. When her great-granddaughter ran up and hugged her afterward, Evelyn was strong enough to hug her back. "She didn't treat me like I was breakable," Evelyn said during her next appointment, her eyes shining. "She held on tight, like when she was little." Then there's George, a 78-year-old former professor who came to me with such severe dizziness that he'd stopped driving. His world had shrunk to the dimensions of his home, and depression had set in. Traditional treatments had helped somewhat, but the dizziness persisted. We started him on the RIC protocol, paying special attention to the neck movements in the intentional joints phase, as these can help reset the vestibular system. We also added an extra minute of engagement focus while practicing his balance. After 3 weeks, George reported that his dizziness episodes had decreased by half. After 2 months, he felt confident enough to start driving short distances again. "I went to the bookstore yesterday," he told me, his voice breaking. "Just being among the books, smelling that bookstore smell, I felt like myself again." His wife later confided that she'd heard him humming in the shower, something he hadn't done in years, and I must share Martha's story. At 85, arthritis had twisted her hands into painful claws. She could no longer knit, the hobby that had sustained her through the loss of her husband, through cancer, through the isolation of the pandemic. "These hands built my life," she told me, "and now they're useless." We started with modified rhythmic breathing, using weighted beanbags instead of hand pressure. We added warm paraffin dips before the intentional joints phase to make movement easier, and we created a personalized hand exercise routine as part of her strength foundations. Progress was slow. Arthritis doesn't surrender easily, but after, say, 4 months, Martha showed me a small square of knitting. It wasn't perfect. The tension was uneven, the edges wobbly, but she had created it with her own hands. "My granddaughter asked me to teach her to knit," Martha said. "For years she's shown no interest, but she saw me trying, saw how much it meant to me. Now we sit together every Sunday afternoon. My hands still hurt, Harold, but now they have purpose again." These stories aren't exceptional, they're representative of what happens when we refuse to accept limitation as our fate. When we understand that our bodies, even in their 9th and 10th decades, still respond to proper care and movement. I know what you might be thinking. "It's too late for me. My condition is different. You don't understand how much pain I'm..." Finn, I do understand, not just as your doctor, but as someone who walks this same path. 3 years ago, I fell and broke my hip, the injury that so many of us fear. For weeks, I needed help with everything. I felt helpless, diminished, but I followed my own protocol, adding modifications as needed. Today, I still walk with a slight limp when I'm tired, but I climbed the stairs to my granddaughter's 3rd-floor apartment last month to attend her birthday. Dinner? I made it slowly, but I made it. It's never too late to improve your quality of life, never too late to regain some of what you thought was lost forever, and never too late to be treated with the dignity you deserve. I'm asking you to try the RIC protocol for just 7 days. That's all. 1 week. Start tomorrow morning. The first 3 days might be uncomfortable. Your body will resist change. That's normal. By day 4, you'll start to notice small differences. Perhaps you'll reach for something on a high shelf and realize your shoulder doesn't protest as much. By day 7, you'll feel a shift in your energy, in your confidence. And here's my promise to you. If you continue for 30 days, someone who loves you will notice the difference. They'll see you stand taller, move more confidently, engage more fully. They'll feel the strength in your embrace, but more importantly, you'll feel it. You'll know that you haven't just accepted decline. You've chosen vitality instead. I'm 91 years old. I've been practicing medicine for longer than many doctors have been alive. And the most important thing I've learned is this. Aging isn't a disease to be feared. It's a privilege to be embraced. With knowledge, with purpose, and with the right tools. The RIC protocol is my gift to you, from one traveler on this journey to another. Use it. Share it with those you love. And remember that as long as you're here, you matter. Your life has value. Your presence has purpose. If you found this information helpful, please consider subscribing to this channel. Share it with others who might benefit. And in the comments below, I'd love to hear about your experience with the protocol after your first week. Until next time, this is Dr. Harold Mitchell, wishing you movement with purpose and days filled with meaning. Take care of yourselves. Dear friends, our journey continues.